we should know about that besides just do it a lot?
What do you mean?
Well, I tend to not be able to hit the ball where I want it, you know, so I hit a lot of grounders when I don't want to.
Right.
So I don't have that bat control. How do I get it?
Practice it.
Just
Start
practice.
off the tee.
Tees.
Figure out on the tee where you have to make contact in order to pull it, which would mean out in front here.
Yeah.
If you're going to pull the ball, you got to hit it when it's out in front. If you're going to hit it the opposite field, you got to let it get deeper.
Right.
All right. If you're going to hit it through the middle, it's right here. So figure out timing-wise where it's got to be. All right. And then you need to stand in the box according to where you want to hit it. You're okay. You're okay. If I get up there and my two holes are middle and right center, then as I get in the box, I'm gonna stay away from the board a little bit, because now I'm taking, if it hits the middle part of the inside part of the board, it's now a middle pitch for me. Okay? And then if it hits the outside part of the board, that's the one I'm gonna go to right center gap. And then the middle or end part of the board is the one I'm going to hit up the middle.
Yeah.
If I get out there and I look, I have the third base line and the left center gap open, I'm going to get closer to the board and maybe even open my stance a little bit. So now, if it's on the outer half of the board, that's the pitch I'm going to hit in the gap. And if it's on the inner part of the board, that's the one I'm going to pull down the line. As a pitcher, I cannot, and it bothers me, sometimes my shortstop will yell at me, "Keep it inside on this guy." Well, the damn guy is 20 feet off of the board. How can I keep it inside on him? You can't. All right? Or they'll say, Jose Canseco plays against us, and he gets on top of the plate with an open stance, and they're yelling, "Keep it away from him." You can't. He's on top of the board. You know? The outside part of the board is now his middle pitch, and he can still pull that one and hit it. So as a hitter, you can determine whether you want an inside pitch or an outside pitch by where you stand in the box. You can determine whether you want to, hit one up around your eyes or you want to hit one down around your knees by where you stand in the box. So it's a huge advantage as a hitter, where you stand in the box. Okay, will dictate where you're going to hit it. And as a pitcher, I look for that because you're telling me where you want it. But a lot of times there's nothing I can do about it. If you want an inside pitch, you can guarantee that if I hit the board, it's going to be an inside pitch by crowding the plate. Okay? And same way getting off the plate.
When we talk about back control, is there a difference between balance and end load? I swing end load only. So, I mean, is there, when you're saying back control, do you get a little more back on a balanced bat?
I would think so. I would think a balanced bat, I can control a little bit more. Okay. What they say the end load does, the end load gives you a little bit more whip, inertia. Once you get the barrel going and it's got a little more weight on the end of it, it's going to give you a little bit more, not really velocity, but it's going to give you a little bit more strength because you've gotten the heavier end of the bat moving a little bit, so there's a little bit more mass coming through the ball, so on and so forth. I would think a balanced bat would be easier to control, yes.
So if we're learning how to go to right field and learning how to go to left field, go to balance would be a little bit easier.
Yes, I would try a lighter balanced bat, something that you have control of.
Is it true that the balanced bat has a bigger sweet spot on the bat? I've heard that, and I think it's true.
I don't know. I don't know the science of the sweet spot. My boy Alan Tanner could probably answer that one for you.
Wouldn't that be bat to bat?
So I can find it. The sweet spot is usually. You're good. Turn that field around. I don't know that the sweet spot gets bigger with an end load versus a balance. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, because I notice I can miss-hit a ball on a balanced bat that much, and on an end load, it's only about that much.
Yeah. I would think that a bat with a bigger barrel, a longer barrel, has a bigger sweet spot than a shorter barrel. That's what I would think on it. But you might be right on that. Hopefully, we get it on enough of the barrel where it's going to go where we're trying to go. Real quick.
Somebody said earlier, you play with 3 outfielders, sometimes 5 infielders. The league we play says 4 infielder, 4 outfielders.
Okay.
What's the psychology behind that? Is are they playing 5 and 3 in the outfield?
Great question. And it might just be my level. My level is we're limited on our home runs, and we can hit them. So what they're trying to do, and our guys are so good that with a 4-person infield, they can just hit it through. There's bigger holes in the infield. So what they're trying to do there is they bring a 5th infielder in, and they take the middle away. A 4-man infield, that poor pitcher, has got a lot of area to cover. So against a 4-man infield, we're firing it to the right of the pitcher, to the left of the pitcher, over the pitcher's head, because the middle's wide open, okay? So what they try to do at our level is they bring that 5th infielder in, make the holes smaller, and they force you to hit it into the outfield. And what they're trying to get me to do is aim for the gap, miss-hit it, and hit it over the fence for a solo home run. That's what they're trying to get us to do at our level, all right? And in Vegas, or when we go out west, we use a real hard ball. We play on a 300-foot fence, and it really does get hard to keep it in the park. We're still trying to hit it hard. We're trying to get it to turn over or hump into a gap, and there's a lot of times we'll spin it, we'll get it backspin on it, and it'll carry out of the ballpark. And then we're hitting solo home run or 2-run homer, and we're wasting our home runs. And then as soon as we run out of home runs, we're not as good as you guys are at base hitting it, because we count on home runs and scoring runs that way. So that's the concept of a 5-man infield and 3 outfielders. It probably wouldn't work, yeah. As we get older, they're going to put 4 outfielders out there. Now what that does, what a 4-man infield does, it makes you get a lot of singles. All right, so now you need 3 singles in a row to score a run. And sometimes that's a little more difficult. I'd rather hit off of a 5-man infield than a 4-man infield. Because we got guys that love hitting the long ball, and they feel bad hitting a ground ball in the 5-6 hole. Less of a man, So anyway, so that's where that goes with the 5-man, 4-man. But if it's a 4-man infield, the holes are a little bit bigger, the middle is open, and you can place your line drives and your ground balls a little bit better.
When you are trying to move the ball around, do you change your stride or just open and close the bat head?
We don't. We talked about that yesterday in my session. We never change our stride. We try to do the same stride all the time. It's just where you are in the box. Right. You want to pull it or go with it, and then you can do a little bit with your bat. You can inside out it to get it to go to right field and put a little hook spin on it or a slice spin on it. You can hit the bottom of the ball to get it in the air. You can hit the top of the ball to get it on the ground. It's more so timing and bat control and trying to hit a ball in a certain spot. But that's what the tee is so good about is I would, if I were you, if you wanted to work on bat control, I'd put a net or something, a garbage can or 2 cones out there and then hit off of the tee and figure out where you got to stand and where you got to make contact to hit it between those cones. You know what I mean? And just practice controlling the ball. And once you can do it while it's on a tee, you may have to back off a little bit to hit it over there, and then just try to hit 10 balls in a row between those 2 cones. You'd be surprised at how good you can do that. All right, and then get 2 more cones over here on this side, and figure out where you need to make contact with the ball in order to hit it into that hole. All right, practice bat control. And then once you can do it off the tee, then try to do it with, we play a game all the time in batting practice. We'll set up some cones as players, and we'll just hit and hit and hit, and we'll even keep score. Was that a single or a double? And, we'll play for hours, Alan and the gang. During COVID, that's all we did.
So it's more, I'm a lefty, so it's more of whether I hit the ball forward to pull, back to the opposite field, versus thinking of closing the bat head a tiny bit at impact.
Yes, exactly. It's both to a certain degree, but the biggest thing is pitch selection. The pitch you decide to swing at and where you hit it.
That's way out here.
Don't try to pull the outside pitch. If it's out there, hit it the other way. If it's inside, turn on it. Okay? All right, very good. All right, so we covered all right. All right, now here we go. Here comes the pitch. Rule number 1, get a good pitch to hit. stop swinging at bad pitches. There's a reason. After double day back in the day, there's a reason. All right? Strikes are easier to hit than balls. All right? Some genius a long time ago said, all right, we're going to create a strike zone. And a strike zone are pitches that are easy to hit. And if you don't swing at a pitch that's easy to hit, we're going to punish you. We're going to call it a strike. And you only get 3 of those while you're up to bat. If you don't swing at an easy pitch to hit 3 times, you're going to go sit your butt down. All right? And then a ball, a real high one, or one inside or one outside, it's harder to hit. If you don't swing at it, we're going to reward you, and we're going to call it a ball. And if you do that 4 times, you get a free, you can walk to first base for it. Some genius years ago determined that thing. Strike zone and all. But it's true. Strikes are easier to hit. Balls are harder to hit. So what do you want to do as a hitter? Hit a strike. Get a good pitch to hit. And here's my expression in slow pitch softball. Ready? Every pitch is hittable. Every pitch is hittable. I can hit this, but what am I going to do with this? Not a lot. All right? I can hit that one just before it hits 2 feet in front of the ball. I can hit it, but am I going to be able to do a lot with it? No. All right? Every pitch is hittable. And this is when my kids transition from baseball to softball, this is the first thing we have to tell them. Because a baseball player gets in there and sees this ball coming real slow. A, it's bigger. B, it's coming slower. They swing at every pitch. They swing at every pitch because it's hittable.
Yeah.
Okay?
Never saw a pitch I didn't like.
There you go. So know that rule. Every pitch is hittable, but not every pitch is drivable. Get a pitch you can drive. All right? That's the biggest thing. Tony Gwynn was a great hitter. All right? People ask, Tony, what was your success? He says, I hit strikes. I hit strikes. All right? Vladimir Guerrero was one of the best bad ball hitters around. All right? He said because when I was growing up, nobody could throw me strikes. So I had to learn to hit balls. So he got good at it. But trust me, in softball, every pitch is hittable, but not every pitch is drivable. Wait for a pitch you can drive and do something with, okay? Okay, again, you have to have some bat control. You got to hit it where you're aiming. Don't just get lucky every time you get up. Have a little bat control, have an idea, have an approach. What are you going to do, all right? Next one, concentration. I find myself a lot of times not concentrating. Sometimes you get in that box, you just got to focus a little bit more. You really do. All right? You got to focus on the ball. And I find myself, I have to focus on the bottom half of the ball. Why? Because I'm trying to hit it where?
In the air.
In the air. Get it to the outfield because there's only 3 people. So I have to actually focus and concentrate on the bottom part of the ball. If you don't, if you just see the whole ball, you'll hit the middle of the ball. And the middle of the ball isn't always the best part to hit it. What happens to it when you hit it in the middle? It knuckles. Does a knuckleball travel very good? No, it doesn't go very far. It's hard to catch for the infielder, but so sometimes you just got to focus. And there's times we're mentally not into it. We're tired. We're thinking about other things, and we really don't focus. But once you get into that batter's box, focus and focus on the ball. Focus on the part of the ball. Inside part of the ball if I'm hitting it to right field. Outside part of the ball if I'm pulling it. All right. Top of the ball if I'm hitting it on the ground. If I've got a huge hole open and I want to hit a ground ball, focus on the top of the ball. You'd be amazing. You'd be amazed because we talked about it in my thing yesterday. The eyes see it, send the data to the brain sends the impulse to the muscles, and then the hands hit it. It all happens pretty quick while the ball's in the air. So it all starts here with the eyes. If you're not locked in and focusing on the pitch, you're not going to be a very good hitter. All right? That's some good advice, and that's a mental thing. All right, eye-hand coordination. We talked about it the other day. All right? Practice your eye-hand coordination. Practice it. How do we do that? Juggling is good. Ping pong is good. Tennis is good. Pickleball is good. All right, find something where your eyes and your hands. Grab me 2 balls out of there, please, sir. Find something to do where your balls and where your eyes and your hands are starting to work. I showed this yesterday with a couple people. Who wants to do it? All right. Our baseball players. I'll tell you a story. Back in the day, remember the Hacky Sack?
Yes.
Remember the Hacky Sack? We used to get the Hacky Sack out, and the pitchers at Miami, when I was at the University of Miami, we would bring a Hacky Sack with us. And with a lot of dead time when you're a pitcher. During batting practice, the hitters are hitting and everything. What are our pitchers doing? So we'd get a little group of Hacky Sack, and we'd go down in the corner, and we'd be doing our Hacky Sack, you know, getting fancy with it. And Coach Frazier came out, what the hell is that thing? We said, Coach, we're having a little fun. Well, that was eye-foot coordination we were working on, and that didn't help us in baseball. So anyway, we came up with games to play that would help our eye-hand coordination. And the 2-ball game is really cool. We'll get 4 or 5 kids in a circle, and we'll get 2 balls. All right, and we'll just start throwing it. And here's what it is. I'm going to throw both of these balls to you. I want you to catch one in your right hand and one in your left hand. Ready? Here we go. Okay? Now let's focus for me. Ready? Here we go. Ready? Grab it. Okay, not so easy, is it? All right, now you throw it back to me. Give me 2 balls. Have it in one hand. Toss it to me. I'm going to concentrate hard, and I'm going to try to catch both of them. Let's try it again. Ready? Concentrate. One gets there before the other. It's not real easy, is it? All right, here we go. All right, so while you're standing around waiting for the game to get done before you, grab 2 softballs. Ready? And then play catch with it. So, yeah, put them together, and then when you spit them, they'll come out at different times. Not so easy, is it?
Not at all.
Okay, so that's one way to do it. Give me one more. This one I did a long time ago. Thought it was fun. I just started juggling. And all it is one, you know, get one out of the hand before the other one goes. And, you know, you get going, you can get fun with it. Behind the back. But anyway, that's really cool because what's happening is I can look you in the eye. Let me get started. Now I'm going to look you in the eyes and I'm still juggling. All right? So my peripheral vision, I'm looking at you now. My peripheral vision sees the balls, all right? My eyes see it, process it, and then tell my brain where my hands are going to go without even me looking, okay? I'm not even looking at the balls, I'm looking at you guys. And I'm still able to catch the ball and get rid of it, all right? So what I'm doing there is I'm stimulating the proprioceptors in my body that help my eyes take my hands to where they want to go, all right? So juggling is a great way to work on eye-hand coordination. All right, pretty cool. Something you can work on to help you become a better hitter. It doesn't have to be hitting specific. All right. If you do want to learn how to juggle, do it in front of your bed. Stand against your bed. That way you won't be walking. Usually you end up falling all over the house, and that stops you from. And then when you drop them, they're right there. You don't have to bend over and pick them up all the time. All right. But try juggling. It's pretty cool. All right. We just talked about inside part of the ball to go the other way, bottom of the ball to get in the air, top of the ball to get it on the ground. Okay. Here's one I've had to learn. Ready? It's okay to make it out. It's okay to make it out. We're not going to bat 1,000. Okay? Once you accept that, it's okay to make it out, you'll become a better teammate, a better husband or wife, all right, and a better hitter. All right? My philosophy, all right, at my level is, and once I understood this, I was okay with it. In 10 at-bats, I'm going to get on base 6 times. A walk, a base hit, all right? I'm going to get on 6 out of 10 times. I'm going to make 2 outs out of every 10 at-bats. Again, once I learned that and understood that, I was less affected when I made it out, and it wouldn't snowball into my next at-bat. It's the other 2 at-bats that determine whether I'm a 600 hitter or an 800 hitter. So 2 times out of every 10, I need to mishit a ball and let it fall in the hole. All right? 2 times out of 10, I'm going to hit it perfect and someone's going to catch it. All right? So there's 2 at-bats out of every 10 that either going to make you a 600 hitter or an 800 hitter. Now 600 is not real bad. All right? 800 is All-American, all-tournament team. Okay? So as soon as I adapted the 6-2-2 philosophy, I think I became a better person and a better hitter because I accepted a couple outs. I mean, let's be realistic. I've still never gone all weekend without making an out. I'm trying. All right, last weekend I was 24 for 30. Guess what that is?
6 for 10. Or 8 for 10.
8 for 10. It was amazing. Each day, played 2 games a day. I was 8 for 10, 8 for 10, 8 for 10. I mean, my philosophy was right on. All right. So keep that in mind. It's okay to make an out. It's not the end of the world. All right. Even the best hitters make an out. But work hard, and sometimes that bloop hit is going to fall, and sometimes that line drive you hit perfect, you know, it's going to get caught. All right, pressure, we're going to talk about that at the end. Remind me to tell you the pressure story, okay? And how do we handle pressure mentally. All right, let's get into base running real quick. The mental side of base running. A, know your limitations. Are you fast or are you slow? Know your limitations. Don't try to do too much as a base runner. All right, I don't like to slide. I will if I have to, but I don't like to slide. So I'm not going to go if I think I'm going to have to slide. I'm going to stay at first and let my buddy knock me, hit it out of the park or throw it in the gap. Know your limitations. If your hamstrings are a little tight, you need to know it. If your Achilles is a little tight, you need to know it. Know your limitations. Don't try to be the other guy. Okay? So know your limitations as a base runner. Only take the extra base if you're sure you can make it. All right? We don't want to get thrown out on the bases. We don't want to get thrown out on the bases. Be sure if you're going to go. Got to know how many outs there are. Very, very important, right? You need to know as a base runner how many outs there are. With 2 outs, you're going on contact. With no outs, you're going to either tag up or make sure it's in the hole somewhere. Our memories aren't as great as they used to be. All right? We forget in a long inning how many outs there are. Don't be afraid to ask. Ask an umpire. Don't ask the other team. Don't trust them so much. 8 out of 10 times you'll get the right answer, but that one person tells you the wrong answer, you're in trouble. Perfect. So don't be afraid to ask, but find out how many outs. Your base coaches should know, the umpire should know, or at least your dugout should know. Somebody's keeping score. You with me? That's a mental side of base running. If you take off with 2 outs on a fly ball, all right, you're around in second, hit, and they catch it and throw behind you. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? It's your fault. You did not know how many outs. All right, don't blame it on anybody else. Okay, you didn't know how many outs. That's your job. Okay, don't make the first out or third out at third base. That's a rule. Don't make the first out at third base. Why? Stay at second. There's nobody out. Pretty good chance we're going to score you in softball from second base with nobody out. Don't try to get the third with nobody out. It's not a big deal. All right, so don't make the first out at third. Don't make the third out at third. Why? Stay at second. Why? 2 outs. You're in scoring position most of the time. You can score on a base hit to the outfield from second base most of the time. Okay, know your limitations. But that's definitely a rule. Don't make the first or third out. Why is it okay to make the second out trying to get the third? What is the advantage to get the third with 1 out? You can score on a fly ball with 1 out. You don't want to get there with 2 outs because there's no advantage now. You can't score on a fly ball with 2 outs because the inning's over. Correct? Everybody with me? Stay with me, gang. All right. Listen to your base coach. Hopefully you got somebody there